What's up, Eagles Nation? Boy, yet again, we're treated to a terrific game. Um, Anytime you can beat Dallas, as we all know, it's a wonderful thing. But when you can dominate them in their own building, and this was the largest margin of victory, if I remember correct, that the Eagles have had against Dallas in AT&T Stadium since they opened it, and it was a tight game. I called this game. I was watching the game here with, of course, my buddies Big Slim and Nostalgia Boy. Shout outs to both of them. We had a great time last night. I had a fun day watching football and then yakking it up about the Jersey game afterwards and during. So it was just a lot of fun, and the team that Big Slim and I root for got the win. The team that Nostalgia Boy roots for got the loss. But it was a great time, and great time had, and obviously to see a win. And like I said, I called it. I was telling them, I said, it's probably going to be close at the half, and in the second half, the Eagles are going to pull away. Coming off a bye week, and again, no excuses or anything, but coming off a bye week at times, or off an extended, break, like when teams play on Thursday night, the following Sunday, they get up. Sometimes they get off to slow starts. Teams coming off a bye sometimes get off to slow starts. Kansas City yesterday loses to the Giants in the Meadowlands, so it happens. And obviously, the Eagles got off to a slow start. They made mistakes. First drive, they go down, they score a touchdown. After that, they miss a field goal. Of course, the kicker is lost for the rest of the game in the concussion protocol. But this team doesn't use any excuses. I just think it was kind of interesting because you have two teams on having kind of similar seasons with injuries and whatnot. Of course, Dallas is Zeke, suspended for 4 to 6 weeks. And it's like Dallas is using that as excuses. The Eagles have all these injuries to key players and key positions, and yet they're 9-1. No excuses. The reason for that is when you play as a team, that's what can happen. When you see the teams that have prolonged success in this league, in any league, they play as a team. There's no individuals. It's a team together. Defense, offense, special teams. They root for one another. They celebrate together. It's a total team, and that's the difference. That's the key ingredient. That is the missing ingredient sometimes when you have teams that have a lot of talent, lots of talent, but don't win. And the reason for that is they don't play as a team. They're just a bunch of individuals trying to do their own thing, upset when they're not getting playing time, upset perhaps if they don't get the goal line carry or the first down, the third or fourth down carry to get a first down, or the key reception at a key moment, just fighting against one another. And those teams don't have success. They may have all the talent in the world, but if you don't play together as a unit, as a team, you're not going to win. It's plain and simple. We've had teams in this town that have done that. Eagles teams in the past that have done that. The fighting with one another. Maybe even in some regards, some teams that may have even more talent than they do right now that didn't succeed. Every week, we are seeing this team grow week to week to week as a unit, as a team. They play for one another. They fight for one another. And it's a wonderful thing to watch. And this coaching staff and players, they've grown, within this system. They know what they want to do. And they're going to, is there guarantees in this world with anything? No. You can go 15-1 and lose in the first round of the playoffs. Nothing's guaranteed. And I know that. It's a week-to-week deal here. There's some tough games coming up. There's some tough teams in the NFC. It's not guaranteed, but I love the way this team's playing. I can't say enough about what they have done, what they have overcome, and continue to play better and dominant fashion week after week after week. I mean, look, they got off to a yeah, the first drive they scored, they missed a field goal, and then obviously if they don't score again the half, Dallas is up 9-7. Second half, it's like the it's like the pedal went on, the pedal got pushed down, and they absolutely dominated that team on every facet of the game. They dominated them. Dallas didn't know what hit them. I mean, there was talk that they kind of quit. I mean, if you're a defense, who are you covering on this offense? You can say, well, maybe Zach Ertz because he's a favorite target of Wentz, or Alshon Jeffrey. Who do you try to stop? Everyone gets the ball. Everyone has a role. There's not that one stationary bell cow, or I should say a bell cow running back. Everyone's getting the ball. I mean, the first touchdown scored by Varner. It's an amazing thing to see. And they've all bought into this. They all play, like I said, together as a unit, as a team. And this is what happens. You're 9-1. I mean, the defense, I don't care that Dallas doesn't have their left tackle, that they don't have the running back. You know what? Aren't they still supposed to have some pretty good players on that side of the ball? And they got absolutely shut down in the second half of that game. Dak Prescott, and I do think I'm gonna, I always give it to you 100%. I think it's awesome that both teams have a young quarterback. It's gonna have this rivalry for many years. I mean, Eagles Dallas is a rivalry. Why shouldn't the quarterbacks be a rivalry, right? So for the first time in his career, because remember last year Dak didn't play in that last game of the season, Carson beat Dak. So basically both of them are now one win, one loss against one another, if you think about it. But, I mean, my goodness, Dak just looked silly last night. Looked silly. Throwing interceptions, not comfortable in the pocket. I know they've had, the offensive line. What about the Eagles? I mean, we lose a future Hall of Famer in Peters, and other guys step up. That's what you're supposed to do. Does it always work that way? No, but that's what you're supposed to do. No excuses. It's a big boy league here. All right? No excuses. You still got to play the game. You still got to try to... The object is to win. That's what you're supposed to try to do. So even when you have tough injuries and tough losses to players, you still got to do what you got to do. The Eagles have done it. Dallas has not. That's the difference. And, I'm not going to be here beating my chest, and all this, with the local, bandwagon Dallas fans that we won't hear from probably for the rest of the year now. They're not even worth the time right now, to be honest. They're not even worth the time. Because this team is going places this year. And their team, I don't care what the problems they're having. You know what? As I said before, maybe if Zeke mans up and Jerry Jones mans up and they just take the suspension at the beginning of the season, he plays yesterday. What are Dallas fans saying then? And what if Zeke does play yesterday? And what if the Eagles still win? What do they say? Nothing. Because that's what they got. Nothing. So, to me, I'm not even going to give them any time. Because to me, it's not about the bandwagon Dallas fan, the local bandwagon Dallas fans that we don't hear from after losses. We only hear from them when times are going good. Okay? To me, it's about this team, this Philadelphia Eagles team, being 9-1, looking dominant every week, winning games, finding ways to... They lose their kicker yesterday. Again, you think they're going to use it as an excuse? They lose their kicker. So what do? They go for two every time they score a touchdown. And I sat here, and I was telling Big Slim and Nostalgia Boy, I said, the Eagles don't, the kicker situation, Eagles don't go for field goals in the red zone. They score touchdowns. That's exactly what they did. So to me, it's another example of overcoming something and still finding a way to win and win dominantly. The second half on the road. And oh, by the way, shout out to all those Eagle fans who went to that game. It was so awesome to hear the Eagles cheer, the Eagles fight song being sung by them in the Jerry World in the fourth quarter when all the Dallas fans left. And it was all Eagle fans left, taking over that stadium. It was a thing of beauty. It really was. It's awesome the way this team is playing. it's, you know, it really, um, you go through a lot when you're a fan. You're watching your team play week to week, and it's, to have a season like this, particularly when you just think about, as I said before, 2 years after the Chip Kelly disaster. It's amazing to me. But all the credit goes to the organization, the ownership, the coaching staff, the players, that they've been able to put this thing together and be one of the more dominant teams in the league right now. And there are hurdles that still cross, and there are still some big games to be played. I mean, they still got to go to, Seattle. They got to go to play the Rams, obviously. And in the playoffs, you're still going to draw, good teams. I mean, possibility, you see the Panthers again, and they're looking pretty good right now. I know we beat them that Thursday night in Carolina, but they're looking pretty good right now. We may have to play them again. May have to play the Rams. May have to play the Saints. So Seattle, who knows? So there are going to be some hurdles. Minnesota, I mean, so there are going to be some hurdles and things to overcome. Don't have to play all of them in the playoffs, just two, if we do get the bye, which looks pretty good right now. But take care of business. I want this team to get home field, because I think the home field advantage means something here. Because this team so far this season's undefeated at home, and they only lost twice, even in a losing season last year at home. The home field advantage is being refound here. This is a fan base that's loud and is there for them. Don't get enough credit. You have to talk about the home field advantage for some teams like Seattle and whatnot. The Eagle fans, this team, when things are going well, this team is in the playoffs and a real chance to compete for the Lombardi Trophy. These fans are going to be deliriously loud. And behind this team, they're like that on the road too. They take over stadiums, and I know that they're going to be here, for this team in January, and then moving into the postseason. But that's still a little ways away. Look, they have given us everything that we could have ever asked for this season. It has been a remarkable, remarkable season so far. Even the loss at Kansas City, I mean, they had a chance to tie that game at the end, and it is what it is. You can't always win. There are going to be losses. It was a tough game. Maybe if they ran the ball a little more, who knows what could have happened. Obviously, if they were playing in that game the way they are now, they would have won that game. No doubt in my mind, they would have won that game. But I think it was a learning experience. I think certainly Peterson learned from that, because the balance has certainly been there. In that game, they didn't run a whole lot. Well, we've seen since that, they have had a tremendous balance on this offense. And what has that been? It's been 8 straight wins. And in a lot of those games, they've looked dominant in winning in dominant fashion at home and on the road. Doesn't matter who they're playing. This team is scoring over 28 points a game, close to 30 points a game on average. They're one of the highest scoring offenses in the league. They're one of the most dominant offenses in the league. And there are some good offenses out there, this season. Obviously, New England's doing their thing again. The Rams have kind of refound an offense there. I mean, there's been some good offenses out there in this league, and it's great to see the Eagles, be one of them. It ways to go, and it's not perfect. There's still things that even as well as they've played, they can get better at. And I love the fact that they're even saying that. I mean, they're not looking at this like, oh, we're the perfect team. They're going every week saying we can improve on this and that. And oh, by the way, now they're starting to get guys back. Ronald Darby, interception yesterday, had a really nice game. Played really well his first game back. It was hard to believe he was out, because he comes right in and boom, it's like he never left. That's, again, the key component. It's team. And yes, it's talent, and I don't believe what Chip Kelly said before, where scheme beats talent. You got to have scheme, and you got to have talent to make that scheme work. See, that's what Chip didn't understand. He kept trying to push the scheme crap on everything, right? And you got to have scheme, but you got to have talent. Because without the talent, that scheme's not going to work. It's just not going to work. So look, like I said, it's always wonderful to beat Dallas. I know Nostalgia Boy said, oh, well, this is your Super Bowl. This is your Super Bowl every year to beat Dallas. It's not anymore. It's not. I mean, our goal right now is the Super Bowl, is February, in Minnesota, and the years to come from now. That's the goal. You know, beating Dallas, beating division rivals is wonderful. It brings more to the story. It brings a smile to our face, and certainly we can all have a wonderful Thanksgiving now, coming off that win and the way the Eagles are playing. But it's not the Super Bowl. And make no mistake, it's not their Super Bowl either. They weren't going into this game thinking that's our Super Bowl. No. Maybe at one time that was the story for the Eagles, during down years when beating Dallas was the big thing, either here or there. But now it's another game. It's another win. It's there's things to learn from in that game, things to, that they will continue to go forward. But beating Dallas is not the Super Bowl. It wasn't the Super Bowl when they were going to NFC title games, with Andy Reid, and then eventually the Super Bowl. Beating Dallas was not the Super Bowl. It was fun, but it wasn't the Super Bowl. And so again, they played tremendous in that second half, and really the defense played tremendous the whole game. I mean, when you can keep an opponent at home out of their end zone, that's doing something really, really good. And I know they didn't have Zeke, and they didn't have their starting left tackle, blah, blah, blah. I mean, where are they going to be now? The Dallas All Boys? Is that what we are now? Even in the telecast just today, they're all going crazy about oh, poor Dallas, all their weapons, all this guy's out, that guy. They didn't say anything about the Eagles. Right? Don't we kind of have a similar deal here? But one team's winning with it. One team's not. No, it's that on top of it with how this team has, overcome the injuries. Even yesterday, lost a kicker, during the game, and just overcome it. They just don't let things get in the way, and that's the mark of a special team. And I think we're going to have a really fun rest of the season. And I look forward to it. It's a week-to-week deal. As we know, this thing can change on a dime. Number 11 has got to be in there. He took some shots yesterday. So we cannot afford number 11 to be out. So he's having a tremendous MVP caliber season. He had a rough go for a while yesterday. Again, things weren't all, weren't connecting on all cylinders. But in that second half, what happened? Boom, he's hitting those throws. Right? The running game. I mean, my goodness, that team played bully ball against Dallas. They ran it down Dallas's defense's throat. They absolutely ran it down there, and Dallas couldn't stop it. They could not stop it, and the Eagles knew it. They kept going. They said, "Oh yeah, we'll give you some more. You like that? All right, here comes some more. Here comes some more." It was awesome. It was just one of those things that we haven't seen this team look this dominant, winning games since that Super Bowl run in 04-05 when T.O. was here. I mean, they have looked that dominant in games this year, and we really haven't had that since that. And they put the stat up. The last 4 times the Eagles started 8-1 all year. All those 4 years they played for the NFL championship, whether it was a Super Bowl before the Super Bowls, which by the way do count. And a lot of people say it doesn't matter. It wasn't the Super Bowl. It's history. It still counts. Still counts as a champion. Championship's a championship. And for a long time, the Super Bowl didn't matter. For all those people that said the Super Bowl's the only thing. No, it became the only thing in the I guess it was the late 80s or early 90s when commercialization took over and more with the gambling. That's when it became the big game, and the entertainment value with the halftime show and all that started up, and they got pop culture, with all the pop stars to do the halftime shows. That's when it became the big thing. So go back and look at the history for all of you who don't know it. Go back and take a look. So, and it's not sour grapes. I mean, it's not sour grapes that for me as an Eagles fan, Eagles haven't won it. It's the truth. It's the truth. The first how many Super Bowls didn't even sell out. So, it is what it is. The NFL, I think, did good for themselves to market themselves better, to get put more into public eye. Gambling had a lot to do with it, sure, but the commercialization of the league did it too. The players became stars, And when you have that, and you had players that became popular, and people wanted to see it, the TV, became network television became bigger, in the world of the NFL, and the rights were given to outlets like ESPN and different channels, and it became more widely seen. That's when it became big. That's when it became bigger. And of course, now that we have social media like YouTube, like Facebook, Instagram, fans connect with one another, talk to one another. We make these videos. That's what makes it big. If you really want to know the truth of it, that's the truth of it. We're fans of these teams like myself. We're able to put out these vlogs and do these series and put out on our channels on YouTube or whatever other medium we want to use, and that helps generate revenue for the league because it is about fans. It's about getting fans in the seats, right? It's about having that success, and there are plenty of teams that have had it, and there are teams that even though again no Super Bowl wins, this is still a successful franchise, and it's been a successful franchise for many years. And this is a passionate fan base. So in conclusion here, I know I went over 20 minutes as I usually do, but in conclusion, look, 37-9 is a dominant win, And I don't care what the situation was on the other side of the ball, you still got to play the game. Whoever's not in, whoever's in, it doesn't matter. You still got to play. You look at these games every week. There's a team that probably should not loses a game. Whether they're playing at home or on the road. So to me, it's you still got to take care of your business. And the Eagles, for a time, when they were going to the champion, the NFC title game 4 years in a row, they were taking care of their business. They were winning games, and that's what you got to do. You have to have a winning record. You have to have that winning record to get the home field, to win a division title. And it means winning games no matter what the situation is with your team or with the other. You can't help what happens with the other team. You still got to play the game. You got to line it up like you would in any other situation. Don't look at the other team's record. Don't look at the other team's situations. It's really not the Eagles have nothing to do with that. But they still got to play the games. And for the most part this season, they've been dominant in the games that they played in. And it's great to see, and we've had a season of dreams so far. We really have, and I'm thankful for that. We talk about the season of thanks. I'm thankful for that because this team matters in this to this fan base, and this is all we've ever wanted. And the dream of dreams is it ends at the end of the season with confetti coming down, and whether that happens or not still has to be seen. There's still things that have to be done, but it's looking really promising for this team to go into to make that type of path. So it was another great win last night. I had a lot of fun again here with Big Slim and with Nostalgia Boy. Again, I thank both of them. It was a fun night. You know what? Well, maybe not so much for Nostalgia Boy, but for Big Slim and I, we had a great time. So shouts to both of them, and shouts to all the rest of Eagles Nation. And another big win in Big D. It was a wonderful thing to see, and now we're going on back home this coming Sunday after Thanksgiving to take on the Bears. And let's not overlook them. Let's keep this winning thing going, as I've been saying, right? Let's get the 10-1. My goodness. Ooh, it just sounds good. All right, well, I do want to wish all of my viewers and the Eagles Nation out there, of course, a very happy Thanksgiving, a happy start to the holiday season. I can't believe it's already the holidays. I really can't. But happy start to the holiday season 2017, and I'll see you all more than likely after the game against Chicago. All right, everyone. As always, thanks for watching, and let's go Birds. 9-1. Let's get to 10-1. All right, everyone. Take care.